Hey guys, this is Polar, and this is episode 3 of Speculum Mors. It is a level I am trying to get done by Halloween. And as you can see, we moved the mesh we were working on from 3ds Max. We moved it over to ZBrush, and we're basically just doing a real basic poly painting to the headstone. One of the headstones we'll be making for this level. And yeah, usually what I do when I make my own assets, if I make my own assets, is, well, my workflow is pretty simple. I usually edit out the geometry in 3ds Max, you know, your base geometry, UV it out in 3ds Max, and then when it comes to like poly painting or painting it, I usually make most of my maps in ZBrush. And ZBrush is an extremely useful tool. Sorry there, I'm having trouble pronunciating tonight. It's football season here in the United States, and it is Sunday night football, and I'm pretty excited. I've been watching football all day. But anyway, what was I talking about? Okay, yeah, workflow. It's real simple. Like I said, I bring out the geometry in 3ds Max. You can do that in Maya or Blender or whatever you're using. Then, like I said, I usually bring it over to, after I UV it, unwrap the UVs, I send it over to ZBrush, and this is where I usually add the real fine details, where I'll make like, you know, your bump maps, your displacement maps, your all that jazz, you know, add all the nice details and what makes the assets really stand out. There are other applications you can definitely use, like Autodesk's Mudbox. I've used that before, but I have found ZBrush to be, I guess, for the price of it and what you get with it, it is an all-in-one package. And as you can see here, this is pretty much the final result of the painting and the detailing. And from there, we will export the maps, get them ready to bring over to Cryengine and all that stuff. And now we are back in the Cryengine 3 level editor. And what I am doing now, as I still have the level at nighttime, is I'm walking through the swamp area. If we remember from the first video, we had a layout, you know, we had a starting point, we had a pathway which would lead to the ruins and the graveyard, and through that we'd have to have the player walk through a swamp area. This is just me laying that out in the Cryengine 3 editor. This is a layout of the river. If I probably went real past it real fast. Sorry about that. Anyway, that was the river. This is the starting point. I added some more detail, some more hills, things like that. I'm detailing out the hills right now, and there will be a forest here. I will be adding vegetation, and I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to kind of detail the environment itself, you know, like adding the hills, flattening them, smoothing out what I need to, adding in the base for the swamp and the river, and lay down some roads which will be in this video. And then after I get all that set up, I will start with the levels vegetation. And I think the reason I'm doing it that way is because, how can I explain it? The level itself is somewhat built around the path itself. You know, we want the player to go from point A to point B, and a lot of the stuff around the player is going to be a lot of detail work. And we really, I don't know, I guess I use this this metaphor like a music metaphor, kind of like with game design. Like, you know, you have your, it's like you build up a good rock band like you would a bed. Like you have a big strong frame, which is your drums, and you have your mattresses, which are like the bass, and then guitars and vocals are just kind of like the nice fluffy pillows and cover that goes over the top. I guess you could say with a lot of the level design, you do it the same way. For this level, the pathway is going to be our base, and we're going to build around it, and everything around it is going to be the fluffy pillow, so to speak. Everything that looks nice. But obviously we need that path, because that's what the focal point of this level is, going from point A to point B. And hopefully we will have the player enjoy the trip somewhat, going from point A to point B, even though it's a horror themed level. And we're probably going to try to add some surprises to it, you know, being Halloween, or at least make it look a little creepy. But anyway, we're doing some detail work. Decided to add these hills around the what's going to be the first part of the path, and I'm just adding detail here and there throughout the level. Excuse me, I had a long day working on homework for a class today, and been working quite a lot of hours at my job that I have at the moment, so I'm a little sleepy when I'm going over this. But I guess I'm over here at the swamp at the moment, and the idea of the swamp is we're going to have the path go through the swamp using the road tool, and we're going to have parts of most of it's going to be above the swamp, the water, but some of it will go into the water, and we're going to have the player, you know, be able to venture off the path a little bit, but not too much, because we don't want the player to get lost and veer off the path. And right now, when I was laying out the swamp area, it was pretty flat, pretty sterile looking, and I'm just adding some hills and whatnot in the background of it to give it, I guess, more depth and make it look a little more realistic. And of course it'll look even better once we get the vegetation and all that down. I mean, the level looks okay at the moment, but I think with Cryengine 3, once we start laying down all the other bells and whistles of the application, such as our vegetation, our clouds, our fog volumes, different lighting, different brushes, is going to really make the level pop out. I think we set up a pretty decent background with the mountains so far, and as you can see here, this is going to be the river where the player will cross. We definitely need to work on that some more, but once we get all this finished, I think it'll look really nice. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the players be able to really go through this river. Like I said, it's more like an environment piece. It's more for visuals. It's not necessarily for functionality. It's there just to be there, I guess you can say. Because I think in this level we're definitely going to be using the boundaries, or whatever they would call the player boundaries in Cryengine. I'm referring to them as player boundaries because I'm more familiar with UDK. Which, if those are interested in UDK, after I get done with this level, there will be some more. I'll be doing some more stuff with UDK in a little bit. But right now, we are laying down our path using the road tool in Cryengine 3. And man, like I said with Cryengine 3, like a lot of this stuff, like it makes it really simple. It's easy to mess up, don't worry about that, but they put a lot of stuff in this Cryengine 3 that it really increases the time of the workflow, such as this road tool. It's lay down a path and lay down some vegetation and detail out a background, outdoor scene is really quick in Cryengine 3. That's one thing I gotta definitely give them props for. But you know, we're just going around setting up our what's going to be the main path for the level, and it's going to take, like I said earlier, it's going to take us the player from point A to point B. The progression is going to be pretty linear, which also should help us set up some trigger events in the level itself, which we will do probably the next few videos. And yeah, as you can see, this is tedious work, but it needs to be done. We're laying out our path, which is going to take us to our castle ruins and our graveyard. But as far as a time frame, as our original goal to get this out by Halloween, I definitely think we're going to make it. Once we start to lay down the road, pretty much the base of the level itself is already laid out. A lot of the rest of it's just going to be detail work. So I definitely think we will have this level done by Halloween. I'll have the final video up by Halloween, hopefully. And then from there, I'm kind of excited because I don't know how many people are familiar with the E3D, but I picked up their Unreal Kismet Volume 2 video, and I will do another series kind of following that, which I'm kind of excited for because it kind of shows you how to set up Kismet for a top-down style, kind of like a style classic shooter. So I'm really looking forward to that. But first things first, we gotta get this done. And you know, just basically, you know, checking the path, making sure it looks okay. There will be some areas like right there that we'll need to improvise with or cover up, which we should be able to do that with either a simple mesh or a decal, or we'll improvise something so it'll look cool. We'll benefit from our mistakes, so to speak. I guess that's how like a lot of good art is formed. It's like you're trying to do something and you kind of make a mistake, but then you wind up finding out that mistake is actually better than what you had planned originally. And hopefully that will be the case for this right here, as we are coming to a close laying down all these roads. Now, as you can see here, we do have the path going through the swamp. It's kind of hard to see right now because we're way up there as far as perspective, but once we get it all laid out, and we'll add some lighting with some, we'll probably put some lanterns or some torches along the road somewhat. And as you can see, this is where the path will lead up to the graveyard, or we might even start the graveyard down here, and as you progress further up this hill, we're just testing it. That's how the player would see it so far. As the player would walk up the hill up to the ruins of the old church or castle or whatever they may be. And this is how it looks so far. Now I think it'll look kind of cool once we get it all finished. We have the path kind of curving around the hill here, which we'll probably work on a little bit, or tweak it, or we'll make it work. How about that? But you just kind of use your imagination at the moment. The player's walking up here, you start seeing some headstones, some fences. Probably put some fog volume up here. Come up to this little plateau of sorts, and there'll be more ruins. And make it look real creepy. Maybe put like a bond, some sort of like pyres, like burning pyres or something up here as well. Getting close to the end of this video. We definitely got a few more, and I hope this was somewhat informative, and hopefully it inspires you to go out and make your own video. Feel free to leave comments. Please like it, subscribe, and we will be back very soon with some more installments for this level. And if you have any other questions, feel free to leave comments below, and I will try to answer them as soon as possible, based on my work and school schedule. And that'll be it. Thank you very much.